awards because they engage everybody. I decided not to accept any more awards or any more boards or anything like that.
Right, because usually it's followed by a request to buy a table.
Buy a table, support us, you know.
Right.
And my friends now understand not to invite me quite often because it only means they have to come to my events.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So what do you do? I mean, I know you're shooting this video, but what's your business?
I'm an independent video producer, do a lot of these types of things, as well as just general in Washington lobbying and issue type programs, mainly for trade associations.
Mainly for what?
Trade associations.
Oh, I see.
We're both independent contractors that the Woodrow Wilson Center has brought on.
Okay, gentlemen.
This is my third one of these. So we sent you the questions, and I know you've done this before. It'll just be you and I having a conversation. And I'll prompt you with questions, and if you want to do it over again, no problem. But we'll get through this quickly. So
Okay,
don't worry about that.
we'll try.
Why don't you start by telling us about how you first met Peter Oven and what your first impressions were?
I met him approximately 15 years ago in Moscow. He works closely with Alpha Group and partners there, and they're friends since the early 1990s. He's serious, tough, but at the same time he can be extremely charming. And I was impressed by how effective he was at getting things done.
Good. Everything okay?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, good. Oh, no problem. No problem.
Didn't mean to
Making sure.
break the flow. I'll just leave that here if you.
Obviously, during the time that of his career ascent, there's been great change in Russia. And, what do you think it is about his personality that has helped him be such an important figure in this time of great change and be so effective?
Well, I'll start by saying he's extremely, extremely smart, knowledgeable on the issues surrounding Russia, has learned about America and how America and Russia need to interact. And I think he understands the balance needed between politics and business in order to promote change on issues that are important. And he's effective at dealing with people by putting forth his knowledge and getting them to buy into his ideas. He's a man of vision and a man of action.
Good. If we could just do that one more time, and if you could resist the urge to do what I would be doing if I was sitting in that chair and twisting back and forth.
Okay. This is not a great chair to do this in. One, you're leaning back, and two,
Should
you're...
I change it?
That's all
Change
right.
it up?
We're here already. It's fine.
No, you're absolutely right. Is there something?
2 for 1 here.
You good?
Yes.
Okay, so again, there's been obviously great change in Russia during the time that Mr. Oven has been in government and business. What do you think it is about his personality that has allowed him to succeed during such a period of great change?
He's as knowledgeable on Russian affairs as anyone I've met. He's smart and is able to get his ideas across and get people to buy into his ideas. He's gotten to learn about America and the importance of the relationship between America and Russia, and gotten to know some of the leading figures, in Washington that he can discuss it with. And he has a vision, and he's dedicated to, and has a resolve to get his ideas somehow put forth and accomplished. So he's a man of, he's a doer. He's a man of performance.
Good. So describe what some of the business ventures you've been involved with him in, and what it's like to work with him.
We've been involved in a number of different projects and businesses, real estate, telecom, some of the philanthropic projects together. He is a tireless worker, committed to working hard at every project we worked on together. You can always count on him to follow up, to be there, and I think by example he drives you as well to come back and help him, work on the project together.
Well, and that probably means he makes it worthwhile. Everybody wins when they're involved in something with him.
Sorry, can we just hold for after
Sure,
these
sure.
sirens pass? Sorry about that. It plays very. Okay, we're rolling.
So you mentioned his involvement with various philanthropic efforts, and I know the two of you work together on the Genesis Philanthropy Group. How does the program work, and what are some of the ways that he has helped make it so successful?
Well, the Genesis Prize is given to an individual who's contributed to Jewish life. We've had two prize winners so far, Michael Bloomberg and Michael Douglas. He and I sit on a committee that chooses the winner of the Genesis Prize. I think Peter understands, the need for, participating in Jewish life. Something that, as we all know, growing up in Russia, one wouldn't touch upon that quite often. He understands the need for, the Jewish community to work together globally. At a time when quite often they're under attack. And so he's contributed a great deal, not only to the Genesis Prize, but I think to Jewish life worldwide.
And I think you already sort of touched on this, but how has it built bridges between Russia and other countries through the international Jewish community? How has this program helped in his overall commitment?
Well, I think by recognizing figures and public figures who've contributed a great deal to Jewish life, it sends a loud and clear message to a world that currently finds itself attacking minorities and Jews in certain parts of the world. So I think that's an important message, whether you're the message to Russian people or people in Asia or wherever they are, and especially Europe today. I think one of the ways one carries the message of leading Jews and how the community has contributed a great deal to the world is by being able to identify individuals who are well recognized and letting the world see what the Jewish community has been able to do to help solve many of the problems the world has had over the years.
Going off the list of questions a bit, but this just made me think of it. How do you think growing up in Russia as someone who was Jewish and faced some hardships influenced him to be active in this area?
I can't tell you that I know, how in his youth he may have touched on Jewish life, but I think in his world travels and dealing with people all over the world, Jewish community, Jewish business leaders, traveling to Israel, I think he's been touched by what Jews have accomplished, globally, and I think it's a message he wants to carry on. And he does have a instinct to try to be helpful to people, and with all of the philanthropic good that he does around the world. So he's identified with it. Not all Russians have easily made that transition, but he has, and we're proud of him.
Don't you think that he also sees it as a potential unifying force that the worldwide Jewish community can help bring the world as a whole together, maybe?
I don't know how he's thought about this thing. I think he's able to compartmentalize certain philanthropic projects that he's had, that he's been involved with, mainly through Genesis, in being able to understand how we can help the Jewish community, especially Russian Jews who've immigrated from Russia. And I think that's what Genesis has really, it's been their primary mission. And I think he's bought into that, and I think he wants to help, Russian Jewry that's immigrated, and let the Russians know how important the Russian Jewish community is and how Jews have contributed to Russian life.
Good. So tell us a little bit about Letter One and how Mr. Oven helped launch the venture.
Well, Peter Oven is one of the decision makers and leaders in the inner circle of those that own Leader One. Partner with some significant Russian business people who helped launch it. He's highly respected by those individuals. He's a man of vision, very knowledgeable, and I also think that it's a company that's going to do worldwide business, and Peter is well versed in understanding how to play the different components of having to do business overseas. He's done an excellent job at that, and I've seen it here in America.
Good. So, what do you think it is about his management style and how he interacts with people in business that has helped him throughout his career?
Most successful managers have got to be people persons. They need people skills to accomplish, their tasks, and I think Peter works very well with people at all levels. He's just, regular guy that can get his message across in a simple way without any of the frills and any ego, and he's very effective at that, and I think that's what good managers need to do today.
Can't argue with that. So he's achieved a lot in business and government, obviously, but he's also left his mark through his charitable work, causes like children's medicine, the creation of the Alpha Fellowship Program, the collections. What do you think this says about his commitment to giving back and his legacy, that he's involved in all these different philanthropic enterprises?
Most people like to say that they want to contribute to the better good of the world. He actually goes out and does it, as we've seen in these various philanthropic projects he's involved in. He's helped people privately that no one knows about. He's helped people all over the world, and I think it's something that he feels inside, and I've always found that when we talk about philanthropic projects, that he feels good about that. He's very comfortable with it, balances it well with his business.
And it sounds like he does more than just fun things, that he actually takes a hands-on role. Is that what your experience is?
In my experience with him, yes. He shows up at more meetings at Genesis Prize than I do. He's always active, he's always there, always on top of things. So he's very much engaged in the things I've worked with him on.
Good. So we have two last wrap-up questions, but before we get to them, is there anything you think we have missed that you would want to touch on in terms of your dealings with him through the years?
What I've always, it's always touched me about Peter is his ability to be a tough businessman, at the same time be a good friend. That's not easy for people to achieve. We often come across business people who only show one side and the toughness, or a friend who shows only the friendship side. But he's just a guy you'd walk down a dark alley with, that rough Russian style, and along with that very friendly side of him when you're socially with him.
Good. Glad I asked. So this next one, we're going to ask you to describe him in one sentence. If you could first put his name, Peter Oven, or in some way wrap his name into your response. So if you were to describe Peter Oven in one sentence, what would it be?
Peter is a mensch. He's able to, show the tough, serious side of him, and at the same time make you feel like you're a friend and make you comfortable.
Love the word mensch.
I assume your audience will know what mensch means. I won't
Oh,
listen.
absolutely.
Okay.
That adds authenticity.
Peter may not, but the audience.
Oh, he will.
No, I'm kidding.
Because we have another guy who responded, Rick Bird. I don't know if you've met him.
Yeah.
And he said, and he's just no bullshit. And we're going to put that in just because, the crowd, it's the authenticity. So, same with Bench. So this last one, we're going to ask you to look directly into the camera. And this is where you congratulate him. But if you could, after you finish your whatever you're going to say to him, keep looking into the camera for a couple seconds, just because that helps us when we're editing. So if Peter Oven were seated here right now, what would you tell him about why he deserves this award and how proud you are to be his friend and colleague?
I can cite many reasons that I'm proud to see Peter get the Woodrow Wilson Award. Firstly, because of his achievements in business at a level that very few achieve, but also because of his philanthropic work that he's done around the world. Most importantly, though, Peter cares about his friends and he cares about his loved ones, but he also cares about people who he'll never meet, who he goes out of his way to help, and he's deserving of this prize.
That was great, but if you could say it like you're speaking to him, Peter, you deserve this prize because of your long history of, something like that, or congratulations on getting this award, Peter, it's richly deserved. Or
Peter, congratulations on getting this award. You deserve it, not only for your accomplishments in business that we all know about, and for your philanthropic work that many of us know about, but also because you support your friends, you support your loved ones, and more importantly and uniquely, you help people who you've never met. You go out of your way to help those in need, and we congratulate you, and you're well deserving of this prize, Peter.
all right,
Okay.
perfect.